Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.
All right, what is up, everyone? It is ASAP After Dark. We are back after about a month hiatus, Ron? We were off for about a month.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so much longer than that, but we are right back, right on time. Exactly. It feels good to be back on the ASAP network.
Hey, we're back. We're excited. We're going to kind of pick up where we left off a little bit, because when we last left off about a month ago, we come on and KD had announced that he wanted to trade. He still wants a trade. That has been the talk of the NBA all summer, is where does KD go? Where does Kyrie go? Are they going to get traded? Who are they going to get traded to? We've seen, of course, all of the reports that the Lakers want to try to go all in for Kyrie, but the Nets don't want picks. They want players that can play now. They don't want to have to wait for the Lakers to be garbage in order to get to this point. So it was reported a couple weeks ago that KD pretty much, re-nudged the, Nets ownership, like, hey, I still want out of here. So, Ron, to you, what's your take on this? Do you think at the beginning of the NBA season, KD's still going to technically be on the Nets? Like, do you think this is one of those? It's going to be a longer wait to see where he's traded to than we think.
1,000%, and he has to, because what's the best offer that the Nets have gotten so far? And it's nothing that they've wanted. I think the best offer has been Jaylen Brown or Brandon Ingram. No picks, no package, nothing they're looking for. So why not just hold on and wait until February and see what happens?
Yeah. Now, hypothetically, if you're a team that would even think about trading for KD, do you even, make the trade? Because, this is KD's now third team being in the NFL. And, we finally got our main star to show.
The Sensei.
Thank you, Philip. Sorry, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Fantastic. Sensei, we're kind of picking up where we left off. I'll ask you real quick before I finish my question. Do you think KD gets traded, or do you think we still see KD technically on the Brooklyn Nets before the season starts?
I think we see him on the Nets before the season starts, just because I don't think the Nets are really being logical as far as what they're asking for KD. They pretty much want teams to sabotage their whole team for Kevin Durant. And no team, and as great as Kevin Durant is, no team wants to do that, because the thing of it is that you want to send KD somewhere. And if your team tries to get KD, you want him to be happy, because as we've seen in the past years, if he's not happy, he will look to go elsewhere. So if you blow up your whole team and you just bring Kevin Durant there, and he's already 34 years old, he's not a younger guy, so he's not looking to per se carry a team. He's looking to win right away. And if you can't offer him that, then it's pointless for him to even go for him to come there to your franchise. So I think at the start of the season, we will see KD be a Brooklyn Net. Now, will it stay that way? I don't think so because I think he's going to get disgruntled eventually. And it's going to get really uncomfortable for them, and he's going to pretty much force their hand, which is kind of what he's trying to do right now. But they know they have the power at this particular moment. But I think as the season progresses, they're going to have to get rid of him. Like it's going to become too much of a distraction for that team to get past that. Not only that, and also if they keep Kyrie as well, like it's going to just be a mess. So they've definitely got to do something, but I think at the start of the season, he'll still be a Brooklyn Net.
Yeah. And Dustin, you're right. It's not dark in Alaska yet. You got to give Ron about 2 more months. It'll be dark for like the next 8. So we'll be there. Like literally, Ron's gonna wake up. It's gonna be dark. You're gonna go to bed. It's gonna be dark. So it's fine.
It's a miserable time, I swear.
But Ron, I'll finish asking my question. And Elena kind of pointed out to it. You know, if you're a team wanting to trade for KD. You know, do you even potentially make the trade? Because you got to think Brooklyn's wanting to recuperate a lot of those losses that they sent out to get KD. Well, not really to get KD, what they did for Harden. Luckily, they got KD through free agency. But, you know, you're going to have to give up a lot as far as, you know, potentially getting KD. And like Elena said, you know, if it's a year down the road, hypothetically, say it's Boston, you know, you give up a lot of these young guys to get KD. Okay. Now what do you do if KD in a year says, I'm not happy, I don't want to be here. I don't feel like this is a championship contender. We got close, or you know, I don't want to have to go through this again. You know, to me, KD's got this I want to win now mentality. And part of me says it doesn't make sense. I guess mainly because if you look at somebody like LeBron, you can see kind of his main thing is he wants to be, you know, to some people, he is the GOAT, and he is a great basketball player and one of the greatest players of this generation, you know, hands down, without a doubt. But what is KD's ultimate end goal? Does he want to make a lot of money? Does he want to be the GOAT? Does he want to have a lot of rings? So, you know, for you, Ron, do you even contemplate making the trade? And if you do, who's the team that you're trading to? Because who do you think would give you the most in value back?
My thoughts is any team not willing to be interested in trading for Kevin Durant, y'all are nuts. The fact if you aren't sitting down as an organization and just saying, I would have a problem with whoever's running it. And if the Brooklyn Nets are trading KD away, I feel like they're nuts. This is a player that you try to, you know, make the centerpiece of your franchise. I don't completely forgot the original question you just asked him because I'm just so hot.
Where would you trade KD to?
Oh, where would I trade if I'm the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, well, and really not even the Nets, because to me the Nets want to kind of make him happy, but if I'm the Nets at the same time, I'm like, this is a business. Like KD wants to go to a contender. But a contender also at the same time isn't like, oh, we're just a KD away. Otherwise, like you said, if you're even semi-interested in winning a chip, you're not just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to go after KD. Like KD, no.
If I am Boston, I want the best player that I can get. Whether it's a young asset that has a future as an all-star, i.e. Scotty Barnes, Toronto trade. What's our team down south? The Pelicans, Brandon Ingram. That's kind of been talked about. I feel like if I'm Brooklyn, I want Jaylen Brown. Just balled out in the NBA Finals, and the Celtics kind of put him on the table. Who else are you getting that's close to that? That they wanted Devin Booker. That's the closest you can get to a Devin Booker, right?
Basically.
I'd be happy if a Brooklyn Nets fan, if I lost KD. Yeah, I'm going to be sad that the team blew up. But I got Jaylen Brown, who's got 3 more years on his contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Sensei, what about you? You know, do you trade KD? Because if I'm the Nets, I feel like you're between a rock and a hard place no matter what. Because you can't convince KD to stay. You know, it seems like they want to get rid of Kyrie no matter what they do. And obviously KD wants to be gone. And again, you know, Brooklyn doesn't want to take the Lakers, you know, 2024 and 2025, you know, first round picks, because it's like, okay, we have to wait for that to happen. We don't know how those are going to pan out. You know, we have been competitive the last 2 years. We want to stay competitive. So, what if you're the Brooklyn Nets? What do you even do in this situation?
It's hard because, like you said, the thing of it is like trading away a guy like Kevin Durant. Like, you're not gonna get a return on that, no matter who you trade for. Like, there's only one KD, so it's like you have to just go with what's best for your franchise for the foreseeable future. Basically, like, what's gonna make the most sense years down the line? Is it draft picks? Is it some role players in draft picks? Is it a guy like Jaylen Brown in some draft picks? Like, it's like what makes the most sense for the next 3 to 4 years? Because no matter what, losing KD and obviously going to lose Kyrie because they don't. It's evident Kyrie don't want to be there and they don't want to. So they're going to lose both of those guys. So you're going to go back to the basement for a minute. So it's like it's kind of like how low in the basement are you willing to go? Because no matter who it is, it's never going to be the same as a KD and a Kyrie, because you're just not. Those are generational players. You're not going to get those two guys back, no matter who you trade them to. So now you have to think of it in the sense of what's going to keep us afloat to make us marketable, to make it a desirable place for other superstars who may want to come here in the future. You have to think about it in that sense, because right now it's not looking too good for the simple fact that this experiment was so short-lived and it's already a mess. Like, it's already, you know what I'm saying? And then you got somebody like with such an influence like KD saying basically, get rid of the front office or I don't want to be here. So what does that say to everybody else? Because it's like, if he's upset with the front office, what are they doing to him? Like, it's KD. KD's not really a guy who speaks much or forces his hand in that way. Like, if he's happy, he gets up and leave. But to put himself in that position to say it's either them or me, you got to think, how do they rectify that? Because that's going to play a big part too, as far as other people wanting to come there in the future, or people wanting to stay. So it's like it's just a big mess. But to answer your question, Tony, if I'm Brooklyn, kind of like Ron said, I think Boston is probably the most logical trade situation for him, because they can't offer a guy like Jaylen Brown, who is a really good player. Like, he's a good two-way player too. So now, can he carry a team? Can he be, change the trajectory of a franchise? That'll be yet to be seen, because he's always played second fiddle to Jason Tatum. And that's a big leap, going from the number 2 guy to the number 1 guy, and not everybody can do that. So it's also, you also have to factor that in as well. But I think they probably make the most sense as far as what they can offer that would be comparable, I guess is the word, to the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think of anybody else, Phoenix is not. They just gave Devin Booker all that money. They're not giving Devin Booker up. And then, you know what I'm saying, you got to think of other places. No other superstars really moving around other than Donovan Mitchell. And it's like, I wouldn't trade Donovan Mitchell for KD. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right.
So it's just like, Boston is probably the package that would make the most sense for KD. Now, as far as for Kyrie, I still think he ends up being a Laker somehow. I don't know exactly what they're going to offer, what they're going to throw on top of the draft picks, but I do think he eventually, I think that's because it's already been pushed so much and been out there, and that's the story that they're driving. And I think that Brooklyn wants to get rid of Kyrie for whatever they can get rid of Kyrie for at this point. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's different with KD and Kyrie, just because they want to get rid of Kyrie because of how he acts and just kind of his persona and everything that surrounds him. KD just wants to leave. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of two different scenarios, but I think Boston would probably make the most sense.
Yeah, and I'll be honest too, with Kyrie, it's like, if I'm Brooklyn, I'm not really upset about losing Kyrie, because it's one of those, you had him for maybe like a handful of games. Like, you don't really miss what you never really had because of COVID. Yeah. It's like before COVID, yes, you had Kyrie, and Kyrie, saved your team. Other than that, it's like, yeah, what have you done for me in the last 3 years? Nothing. It's like, all right, time to go. But real quick to both of you, do you think Golden State should even think about doing a reunion with KD? Because that was out there in the reports too, that Golden State might kick the tires, like, hey, why don't you come on back? We'll own the NBA and the West, everything like that, all over again, at least for a couple years while you play.
Yesterday.
No.
Ooh.
I don't think, if I'm Golden State, no, because we just proved that we could win without you. The whole narrative of Katie and Golden State has, at least it has been, that Golden State came to KD because they needed KD. They figured out that LeBron was probably they were probably gonna have to play them again next year. They didn't think that they could beat them again because they had kind of cracked the code of how to beat Golden State. So they went and got KD and then making them virtually unstoppable. Mm-hmm. So then once he left, the narrative became, oh well, they can't win without KD, and they, they needed KD, and then they just smacked through everybody in the playoffs without KD. And Steph played otherworldly and lost his mind. So if I'm going to State, come back for what do we need you to come back for? Like, I mean, and Draymond meant what he said, and when they got into it, we won without you, and you already out the door, so we don't need you. They all believe that. Mm-hmm. That's the core of them, the three of them. They all believe that they never needed KD. It's just KD was available, and they were like, why not? Yeah. It worked. He moved on. They moved on, and they got a bunch of young guns coming up that are perfectionists in their roles. And I mean, whether they have KD or not, I still think they're going to run the West for them until somebody knocks them off. They are the leaders in the West. So it's like, for what? You know what I'm saying? He was disgruntled there too. He wasn't there. And that was the most perfect situation you could possibly be in. You are a MVP, one of the most proficient scorers we've ever seen in NBA history, and you're playing with two of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. And you know what I'm saying? They could, you have to pick your poison when Golden State. If you double one, you leave another one wide open. So it's like either way you lose. And you weren't happy there. So why you know what I'm saying? If I'm Golden State at least, now if I'm KD, I would definitely be like, hey y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to run it again. But if I'm Golden State, no, why? Why we don't need you for what? Come back for what?
Yeah. And I never understood too whenever everybody was like, oh, well, Golden State can't win without KD. No, like you said, this was a team that dominated before KD got there. And then they dominated with KD. And then you think about the 2 years after, okay, Steph got hurt. Clay got hurt for literally 2 years. And, we've never known Draymond to be this guy that's going to drop like 50 on you a night. Like, we know it's not going to happen. So I kind of agree with both of you. I think they do in the fact of I would give Clay until Christmas. And the reason why I say Christmas is that gives Clay enough time to kind of see if Clay is going to be back to Clay or if Clay's done. And if Clay's done, all right, Clay, I'm sorry. Time to bring KD back. And it's nothing against Clay. It's nothing I think is his fault. It's just one of those that happens. And it's like, if I'm Golden State, you have a guy that he's been in your system. He can make it work. Now, again, are him and Draymond going beef? Because Draymond's going to tell you like how it is. And KD, little paper skin. But, I mean, you got 2 rings winning. Like,
oh, my gosh. Guys, y'all about to make me throw up with all this Golden State love. What is Draymond going to tell like it is? How he can't perform on offense no more? How he feels like he should be the point guard taking the ball out of Kevin Durant's hand when that's not the case, Draymond. We need the ball in KD's hands, not yours. Draymond was wrong in that argument. And it sounds – you said he was?
No, he was. I wasn't saying that to say that he was right. I was just saying what he said in the argument was, we don't need you. We won without you. That's what my point was.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to
1,000% wrong.
I want to address that as well, y'all, because of course Golden State won 73 games. They did not need Kevin Durant. What did they need Kevin Durant for? To beat LeBron. Golden State, yes, will dominate the league. Will do all this stuff, but they could not beat the King without Kevin Durant. And they weren't going to come close. Yes. And I hope DeShaun is still with us because I do feel like Kevin Durant is needed by Golden State to be what they want to be. Of course, I'd be crazy. They just won the championship. But Joe Lacob, their owner, is probably like top 3 most cocky owners there is. He wants to be the modern day Celtics. He wants to be a dynasty. He wants all the championships. This Golden State Warriors team is not that. This Golden State Warriors team was Steph and everybody else. He was the engine, and everything went perfect for Golden State once again. Every injury, they were perfect healthy-wise. If everything is going perfect for Golden State, I don't feel like they are successful. Just my thoughts.
I agree and disagree with that. To an extent, I understand what you're saying because they have a history at least of, especially when they win, like there's always like this major like
Injury.
Injury or like something just happens where it clicks in their favor and it's like, oh well, LeBron tore his ACL, so it looks like, you know, it's always one of those things. So I definitely hear what you're saying with that. But also I think too we have to, at least for me, this particular finals run, which granted they did have injuries and that did definitely help them. However, for me, I think Steph in the finals kind of pushed that down a little bit for me because even if all of those things happen, if Steph doesn't lose his mind in those last games 3, 4, 5, well no games 4, 5, and 6,
all of them.
they don't win. Like you know what I'm saying? That to me puts Steph on a different level because we never see Steph go nuclear in the finals. It was always the rounds prior to that, and in the finals, he kind of dropped off a bit and wasn't really the Steph that we knew him to be in the regular season or in the conference finals or in the first round, you know. Yeah. But this particular finals, like he elevated himself to a different level. So I can't necessarily say that everything went perfect for them this particular. I mean, they like I said,
Frankie
still benefited from major injuries. Obviously, I think had John Morant been healthy, I think the Grizzlies might have knocked them off. Myself personally,
right?
But even still, with that, like it's the same. Golden State could also flip it and say the same way. Like those last 2 years that we weren't good, had we had Clay, it might be different. So it's like I can't say that all the way, but I hear what you're saying because it's definitely true. On the back end, that's why I say if I'm Golden State, I'm not answering a KD call because look what we literally just did. Look at how great Andrew Wiggins played. Look at how great what's the kid? Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole. How well he's been playing and how he's elevated his game. And they still have Wiseman coming back. They got Moody. They got Kuminga. Like they have all these pieces that make Golden State. Like and it comes in the form of they pretty much morph all these talents into what KD was for them. So it's like if I'm them, I don't. What do I need you for? Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how. Especially I'm glad you brought up the owner. And this will be my last point because the owner never really. When KD talks about not getting the credit or the props, that comes from the owner. The owner is the curator of all of it, and as cocky as he is, like you mentioned, Ron, like. He gonna look at it the same way. Like, well, you left. You said I didn't give you credit. I didn't show you love. So why you want to come back? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, go with that.
It's hard to make $1 billion and not be like that.
Oh, for sure. What? Don't ever let me touch $1 billion.
So DeShaun Henderson said nobody is better out west than Golden State. Let's just start with the Lakers. Kyrie, LeBron, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, if we end up getting Kyrie, I think we definitely we can at least make it interesting. Now, exactly how that matches up, it's yet to be seen. But again, we're hinging on it. So I'll say it like this: as the West currently constructed, the Clippers are fully healthy, so you got to. Like you gotta factor that in. Clippers are
Golden State ain't taking the Clippers. They may be lucky if they get 6 games, but if PG and Kawhi is healthy,
you gotta think of that. You gotta think of Memphis is still there. Dallas has gotten better.
Dallas.
If Denver is healthy,
got Jamal Murray coming back, so they're going to be. I mean, they're not going to knock them off, but they can at least be more of a threat than they were last year.
Yeah.
See, I'm always skeptical about, and not to cut you off, since I'm always skeptical about Denver and Utah both, because those to me, those are the regular season kings. Like they will finish, they'll finish like top 3 seed every damn time, and then it's like they might get by with like a first round victory, and and as soon as it happens, it's like 0-4. 0-4. They get swept. I'm like, how did you go from like just killing it in the regular season to you just like you're like, oh, the playoff basketball? No, we were done when the regular season was done. like that was our chip. Like that's where I'm like,
that's true. And you got to think too. I mean, I know they had the epic collapse obviously last year, but they're still going to be right there. The Phoenix Suns are still there too.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how Devin Booker is going to respond to all because he never really got that kind of criticism before last year. Like he was everybody's favorite son, and then all of a sudden when he had the epic collapse, then it was like, the criticism got a little bit different. So I'm interested to see how he's going to respond this season as it pertains to that.
The Devin Booker, I know he should come back harder, 1,000 times harder.
I have faith in him. I just want to see it. That's all.
Yeah. I don't feel like Golden State finishes in the top 5 out west, y'all. I may be crazy, but that's one of my major NBA season predictions.
You might be crazy. It's because it's about to
You
get
said
dark.
I'm crazy?
It's about to start getting dark. You're getting emotional. I understand. I would be the same way, but not in the top 5. You talking crazy.
So we'll move on from KD and whatnot. Probably the next biggest thing that happened over the summer that everybody was waiting for was DeShaun Watson's punishment was finally dropped. It wasn't what anybody expected. He now has 11 games with a $5 million suspension. And ironically enough, he can come back week 13 when the Cleveland Browns go to face the Houston Texans, which, you remember when we talked about this? I said they were going to fumble it. I said they're going to screw this up. They're going to screw it up.
We called it. I definitely. You were the first person I thought of when I saw it. I was like, Tony called it.
I was like, man, everybody's like, no, I think Goodell's going to do the right thing. This could be his career-defining legacy to save him as the committee. I'm like, y'all don't know Roger Goodell like I know Roger. but Elena, I'll get your thoughts first. What's your take on all this? Because I feel like no matter what, I don't feel like anybody's going to be happy. Because if he didn't get enough, then it's okay. Basically, you slapped him on the wrist, which I kind of consider this a slap on the wrist. It's like, okay, he still gets to keep like over 90% of his 99% of his money. He still gets to technically play a partial season because depending on where they're at, they could still be in the playoffs and be viable. Whereas, if he gets suspended for a year, then his defense team is going to appeal it. They completely ignored Judge Robinson's, a female judge. It's, completely, neutral. One of the best, recommends 6 games, which to me is, I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you only recommended 6 games? That to me was also weird. And if he does get suspended for over a year, then it's, maybe that's too harsh. People would want him to come back. He's a great playmaker. What are the Browns going to do now? So what's your thoughts on basically all of this? Should it have been more? And what do you think the punishment should have been?
Well, I remember when we first talked. Speaking of when we first talked about this, and you said that they were going to fumble it. I definitely agreed, and I think I made the point that you in the NFL you can pretty much do anything you want. Well, you can pretty much you can pretty much do anything you want, and on top of that, you can do anything that you want to a woman, and pretty much whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. They're not going to punish you in the way that you ultimately should be punished, because at the end of the day, even though women are the top supporters of the NFL, the top fans in the NFL, they buy the most merch. We, you know what I'm saying, are the most visible. We're the least respected every single time. And whether it's sexual assault, whether it's domestic violence, either way it goes. If you do something to a woman, then it's like, just apologize, throw her a couple million, and then we'll figure it out from there. And that's pretty much what I felt like what they did with this. Because when I saw 6 games initially, I laughed because I'm like, I knew it. Like I knew it. I knew that they were going to take this as serious as they should. I knew that they were going to harshly punish him. And then when it gets moved to 11, like you said, he misses maybe over half the season. They still the NFL season I think is 19 games now.
19
17.
weeks. Yeah, 17 games, 19 weeks, I think, total.
Okay, yeah, okay. So 17 games, 19 weeks. So then you still get 6 or 7 games to play. So that's a good, like you said, good enough to put them in playoff position. If they're not already in playoff position, then they can go to the playoffs. On top of that, $5 million to a $200 or something contract. What? That's a pinch. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's just like if you got $100 and now you got 95. It's like it. So
it's not a pinch, Sensei. It's not a pinch. It's a reward. DeShaun got rewarded for what he did.
And the thing that hurts me the most, I think, is because he gets to just move on with his life. You know what I'm saying? He gets to serve these 11 games, pay this $5 million, but yet these women have to deal with the trauma of that every single day. And they have to listen to people talk about them and degrade them and say, oh, you just wanted some money. Oh, you were lying on him. Oh, you were just trying to bring him down. This, that, and the third. Like Shannon Sharp said, where there's smoke, there's fire. 24 people can't have the same story and everybody lying.
Yeah. I used to have a buddy tell me, he was one of my first mentors at a parking garage I used to work at. And Desi used to always tell me, if I got 12 birds that don't know each other and they're all singing the same song, there's some truth to it.
There's some truth to it. And like I said, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I know he did something. And like it can't be he's just this innocent guy. Because I mean, think of it. All these massage therapists, that's excessive. Like nobody gets that many massages, bro. Like that's sick. And like I said, the biggest factor I think for me is the fact that these were majority minority women. These were women that look like me. You know what I'm saying? That he and they, trying to support your business and he took advantage of these women and you gave him 11 games and a $5 million fine. If it were me, he'd never play again. Yeah. Because that's what what kind of message are we sending to the world and to the youth if we say it's okay for you to, as long as you have money and you have access and you're this big pro NFL star, you can do what you want to do and like you'll get punished, but it's not really a punishment. What's really been taken away from you?
Yeah. And I think also what frustrates me too is not only the fact that, like you said, you can pretty much do whatever you want to a woman. Look at the whole Ray Rice thing, and I know that's what everybody compares it to. They suspended him for what, like a game, 2 games. Then they were like, oh no, he's
with the tape.
Yeah, and then they see the tape and they're like, oh crap, I gotta go back and I gotta fix this. Oh, okay, now he's definitely indefinitely suspended. But the fact that they're so unequal with their punishments too, because you look at what DeShaun did, 66 women, potentially 66. So that's over 1 a week for an entire year because there are 52 weeks in a year. So you had over 1 a week. And you look at somebody like Calvin Ridley, he made a sports bet on himself and they said, Calvin, you're out for a whole year. What? I'm sorry. Since when is me betting money, which is legal now, by the way, since when is me betting money worse than me potentially doing something extremely inappropriate to a woman, potentially 66, and having 24 of them say, yes, he did this, and yes, I have a problem with this. And again, I know everybody will say, well, that's not the same. It's not equal. There comes a point too, though, where there are varying levels of degree of punishment, and the more you do, the bigger your punishment should be, not the other way around of you get accused of this, you get accused of, sexual misconduct, and you get a slap on the wrist, whereas you bet money on your own team that you're not even playing in, and you get a year. Like, if I'm Calvin Ridley, like, there's even memes about it. It's like, well, if Calvin Ridley, would have just sexually assaulted somebody, he would have lost, he would have got less time. And it's like, you're not wrong, apparently.
Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, it's just laughable. Like the NFL and their punishments and how they handle things, it's just laughable. Like I knew as soon as this became a thing, I was like, people, oh, he's never playing again. I was like, yes, he is. Watch. I guarantee you, because they would rather have the controversy and because that's going to bring revenue, it's going to bring viewers, that's going to bring all these. That's all they really care about. And in the initial, that's all that really matters to them. What's going to bring us the most money?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as Americans, we love controversy. So.
And Ron, I'm gonna turn it to you because I gotta ask, Ron, did you ever watch WWE back in the 90s and the early 2000s?
Of course.
You remember the whole storyline where it's like Eddie and like Rey Mysterio's son or something like that, and they had like a match for him, and it was like the custody of Dominic. Like that to me is kind of what the NFL is doing right now with all of this. It's like, we're gonna have him suspended until he comes back to face the Texans. Now what's he gonna do? The team that traded him, what are they gonna do? I'm like, what is this storyline?
And if you think that's not intentional, like that's what I'm saying. That pretty much proves my point. Like I was just saying, like the NFL, like what's gonna bring the most money? You know how many people are gonna watch that game?
Oh, a ton.
Like every single person who likes it, even if you just barely like the NFL and you know what's going on, we're gonna be in front of the TV, whether it's a cheer or
Follow
it's a
the money. Follow the money.
Like I'm just waiting for the Stone Cold Steve Austin glass to break. Bill Belichick come out with a steel chair and just start knocking people out. Like I'm just waiting for it at this point. Like I feel like it's deserved, honestly. But Ron, what's your thoughts on it, man? Do you think the same thing? Do you think DeShaun should be punished for longer? Because kind of like DeShaun said, Ben Roethlisberger got very similar chart and got basically nothing for it.
Yeah.
And his was actual rape charges.
Mm-hmm. Twice.
Twice. So it's like, again, their punishments are just so unequal. So Ron, what's your take? Should he have gotten more?
I think the amount of games is barely adequate, Sensei. I said barely. Like this is like C+, D-. You barely passed the test. At least it wasn't 6. Lord, if it would have been 4. 11. The thing that it is the money. It is the money. A lot of people have been saying the NFL, that's something that he should at least be losing like 40 million, 43, 46, the number of women million out of that 230 that he got. But 5 million is just unacceptable. Like I said, it's a reward. DeShaun Watson got rewarded $225 million guaranteed dollars.
Yep, out of 230.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah,
it makes me think.
Crazy.
Have y'all ever seen the movie Devil's Advocate?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's a really good movie. It's what's the guy's name that plays Hannibal? You guys don't know who I'm talking about. But the movie's premise, it's the old dude. He's really scary. I can't think of his name, but it's like him and Neo from the Matrix. And the movie's premise is ultimately how evil is going to take over the world. And at the end of the movie, they end with, we're going to make sure when we're in court and we're facing these big cases that we're going to have the most egregious claims and we're going to get away with it and win.
Is it Al Pacino?
Yeah. It's Al Pacino.
Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, they end the movie laughing evilly because ultimately they beat the system because they can get away with anything they want in the courts and under the law, which is kind of what we're talking about with DeShaun and Big Ben and all Ray Rice, all these things that people just continue to get away with, and it's just like, wow, At the end of the day, we live in an evil world.
Yeah.
Because 2,000 years ago, DeShaun Watson would have been getting stoned by the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about that. How society has changed. He in 2022 he gets $225 million. 2,000 years ago he would have got 2 million rocks thrown at him. All of the fathers of those daughters.
Yeah. It's just,
That just goes to show money will always make the world go round, good or bad. Money makes the world go round. Unfortunately,
$1 coming back week 11 against the Texans. NFL, y'all ignorant.
Right?
that's gonna be a primetime game. It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be like it's just, and it's like, come on, man, like for real. At this point, like, do y'all think we're dumb? Do y'all think we're stupid? Like, I feel like sometimes the NFL thinks people are stupid. Like,
Do y'all, Sensei? Do you think it was let's suspend him the whole year? Everybody was like, okay, that makes sense. And somebody was like, or listen, the Browns play the Texans week 11.
I can see it. I can see that happening, and then everybody comes back and thinks like, "Oh yeah, that would be a good game, and the money and the viewership, and let's just do that. Let's just do 11 games, and then we'll throw $5 million in there too, just to make it look like we really care. But we really don't.
And again,
25 versus 230, like, come on, man.
And again, you know what I'm waiting for too? I'm waiting for that first press conference afterwards. Like, I've been to classes. Like, I'm better now. I've learned. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm a better man, and I understand those. I understand why those women felt the way that they felt, and I'm just, I've bettered myself as a person, and I respect women. I love women. Yeah, it's coming. I've seen that.
And this is what I love and hate about the internet, because immediately, like, after that suspension got put, I think actually just before the suspension, it's like the National Massage Convention for like all the massage therapists in the United States to come together and congregate is in Cleveland, and it's like right down the street from the stadium. I'm like, you can't make this up. Like, there's no way.
Boy, they better send DeShaun Watson to another country while they convincing him.
Like DeShaun, don't even come. Don't even come to Cleveland.
Don't even Cleveland for that, because
but we'll move on though. So obviously Bronny, LeBron James' son, has started to get a lot of looks from a lot of different colleges now. Now, I'm just saying, Ron, one of those schools in possibility, in contention, is Sparty, because LeBron and Draymond, they cool. LeBron got a photo with Tom Izzo, one of the best coaches that's still actively coaching right now. Coach Krzyzewski's gone out of Duke. Now Duke is interested, but they ain't got Coach Izzo. They ain't got Tom. I mean, Bronny could be a Sparty. He be looking good and green, and they've had one of the best recruiting classes, in 2023 for young basketball players. They have, I think, 3 4-stars and a 5-star. So I mean,
so Tony, what you're telling me is that a 16, 17-year-old dunked a basketball. And us, adults, busy people with busy lives, are going to take time out of our lives to talk about a high school kid dunking a basketball. Bronny dunked, and it just took over. It's wild. It's wild. I think
that's all it is.
I'm just saying, man. He could be a Sparty. He gonna be hitting Michigan.
Right. We just were talking about Sensei before we started. I'm Michigan Wolves. He's a Spartan, unfortunately. Of course, if coming to any of the Detroit schools would be amazing. I mean, Coach Howard was LeBron James' teammate, so I think that's a little bit better than Tom Izzo. That we're going to talk about. But I think Bronny has to stay out west. Go to USC. Take over.
How you gonna disrespect Coach Izzo like that?
I'm not.
Juwan ain't even won a title yet. He's about to go to the Lakers. He's about to abandon y'all in Michigan.
That would be crazy. Don't say that.
Both y'all's coaches about abandoning you. Jim Harbaugh is like, man, if Minnesota offers me that job, I'm gonna be the Vikings head coach. And you're like, no, actually, I love Michigan. I'm sorry.
That would be hilarious.
But since you actually brought up this topic, because obviously LeBron James's biggest fan in Skip Bayless had a comment about this. And you know a little bit more about it than I do, so I'll let you elaborate on it.
Yeah, so basically, like Ron was saying, he dunked the basketball. It became this popular viral video. Everybody saw it. Everybody's going crazy. So Skip sees, I guess, like everybody else saw the dunk as well, and he was like, "Wow, Bronny, impressive, but your dad would have dunked it left-handed or dunked it on the left side." And I'm like, bruh, like, okay. At this point, we have to get him some help. Like we need to get him some help. Skip needs help. Like it's apparent to me because listen, I can't say, and I'm gonna attack it from a different angle because a lot of people were upset about it. There were a lot of people like NBA players that spoke about it and said like talking about kids as a cool. Even Jalen Rose took a mean shot at Skip. I don't know if y'all saw that. But they showed the clip on the Jacob and Jalen show, whatever that show's called. I'm sorry, I don't know the name. They showed the clip on the show and they were like, "Well, what do you think about the dunk to Jalen Rose?" And he essentially said people that average 1.4 in a basketball game shouldn't be allowed to comment. If you know their history, then you know that was a direct fire shot at Bayless. So
yeah,
I agree, but I'm gonna attack it from this angle. Because Bronny's going to get criticism whether we like it or not, whether it's fair or not. It's going to come with the territory for the simple fact that his father is considered one of the greatest players. There's no evading that. There's no avoiding that. He's just going to respect to him for handling it so far so gracefully because I don't think I would be able to do that. But that's something that's going to come. But my thing is this: when it comes to people like Skip Bayless, there has to be a line. There has to be some kind of morality. There has to be some kind of integrity as it pertains to being an analyst and being a journalist. And I feel like that has become a lost cause in this social media era because now everything is what I just want to give I want to give a controversial hot take. I just want to be the person who is trending on Twitter or trending on Instagram. I want to go viral instead of really having real analysis and really breaking it down and having this morale and integrity as it pertains to talking or dissecting somebody's personality or somebody's game. There was no need for him to say your dad would have done. Okay, we know that. Like it's like we don't need just saying did you like it or not? That's all I'm asking. Is it impressive or no? That's the whole reason why we're talking about this, why it's viral. Why are you looking at it like, well, he should have dunked it on the for what? It wouldn't have been we wouldn't have talked about it as much if it would have just been a regular left hand dunk. It wouldn't have been talking about it as much. What it made it impressive was the fact that he was going away from the rim. It was on the opposite side. He was going away from the rim and he dunked it with his opposite hand. That's what made it impressive. So it's like, why does it matter if it's that? So what? Bronny is Bronny. Like he's been called Bronny because he wants to even though like he's still gonna be a junior, he wants to establish a difference between my dad is Bron, I'm Bronny. Like there's a reason for that. So why are you already trying to put the pressure of a top 3 player of all time on this 17-year-old kid? Like he's a kid still. Granted, he's a very well-off kid, but he's still a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not as offended or as in an uproar about it as everybody else, but I just feel like, come on, bro, for real. Like, so what you're basically saying is once Bron retires, I'm gonna pass my hate train on to Bronny. Like, bro, come on, dog. Like,
and he will. That's the sad part. He already showed us that is already the plan. Honestly, Skip was like, phase 1 initiated.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
And honestly, that's probably the thing I feel the most bad about with Bronny is because of who his dad is. He is coming in with such unbelievably high expectations, And I feel like that's where you get a lot of these kids. It's like, oh, well, they never lived up to their dad's expectations. Like, yeah, look at what their dad did. Like, oh, if Bronny's not dunking left-handed, if he doesn't, go out and win, 8 rings, he'll never be as good as his dad. Like, okay, what do you want this young man to do?
I hope Bronny understand that his dad was homeless as a child, had to go live with his best friend just to play on the AAU team. Like, LeBron went through the struggle. You ain't gonna be built like King James, Bronny. Just be your best self.
Exactly, and just be yourself. And it's just as simple as just be yourself. Like, don't try.
Right.
And because I feel like that's what happens a lot of times with kids who play the same sport or do the same thing as their parents. Right. They try to just, they try to do the same. It's like you don't have to be as different as you possibly be. You. Right. Like whatever you are, be you. And I think Bron, has done a great job in raising him that way because he seems
incredible.
A credible young man, like very mannerable, things of that nature. But he seems to be level-headed enough to be secure and being Bronny instead of trying to be like, the second coming of it. Because, like you said, you didn't go through that same struggle. There's something. Bron is built different because he was raised different, and so Bronny's going to be built different because he's raised different as well. Like Bronny's going to have more of an advantage, obviously, than Bron did on just the financial aspect of things and the peace of mind and not having to really worry about certain things. So they're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Like he's never gonna be the equivalent. But if he can just be good enough to just, like I said, to be secure within himself, then I feel like that's a win for him.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like the people that hate on the kid before he even gets to do anything, they're like, man, this kid, like. Give the kid 5 minutes, something. Give me 5 minutes.
However, can I give Bronny a little hard criticism? If you can't get to the NBA and at least be a productive 7th, 8th, 9th man on every NBA roster, Bronny, like you can go downstairs and go to LeBron's hyper cry therapy thing he sleeps in. like you got advantages, bro. Like you better come and ball. The biggest thing. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Ladies first, Sensei.
No, you already talking. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the biggest thing with LeBron and how he's raising them. I look at the youngest. Like he didn't force basketball on the young. He's like, you want to be a computer kid, you want to get into tech. Do your thing. I'm not going to force basketball. And I feel like Bronny wants to be this because Bronny wants to be this. Like, he's dedicated. I want to be something. I want to be Bronny Jr. I want to be like my dad.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think what I can say about him is that every year he's getting better every single year. Like, he's gotten better every single year. Like, when he first came in, I think he was very, obviously, understandable. He was real timid, like, didn't really kind of know his role, his position, how to kind of handle certain things because, like, again, but I think now he's a lot more comfortable, a lot more secure. Like a lot of these AAU games, like Bronny looks like an NBA, like he's treading towards NBA prospect. Like it's a lot more logical now to say that he could be on the NBA roster than it was 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like he's definitely more secure in his game. He's improving as far as as a shooter.
I feel like he's gonna be an NBA starter. He won't necessarily be an all-star. He may make it to one all-star game. I think of it as like this: if LeBron is Steph Curry, Bronny Jr. is gonna be Seth Curry.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. Honestly, that's probably the most logical comparison.
He should be okay.
Yeah, which I mean, Steph ain't bad. Like Steph can do what he do now. Don't get it wrong. Like Steph can do what he do, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move into probably our last topics. So we've had preseason. We got one more week of preseason. The Jets and the Falcons are actually playing tonight, so that's a dumpster fire because we got the Atlanta Falcons that are what they are now without Matt Ryan. And then the MILF Hunter himself is out so far.
Oh,
the MILF Hunter, Zach Wilson. The
You
milk
know
cartel.
what? You know what? I'm done with you.
Oh man, this is definitely Ace Up After Dark.
Oh, 100%. But real quick, do you guys have four for sure division winners going into this season? Like 4 teams, doesn't matter
yeah.
what conference, anything like that. What 4 teams do you know for a fact are winning their divisions? Sensei, I'll start with you.
Let Ron go first. He said for
Ron,
sure.
go first. Okay.
Okay. Division winners that I can go to sleep at night and not have any second guesses. Buffalo Bills, Rams, Chiefs, Buccaneers.
Okay.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. That would be my score
Chiefs
also as well.
is the only one because that AFC West is wild.
I was
but Patrick Mahomes, I'm not betting against him. I'll go down with that.
I agree with all 4 of those teams. I was going to say the Chiefs would be probably the one team that is kind of shaky just because I want to see what their offense is going to look like without Tyreek Hill. Just because he played such a major role, throughout the last few years in making them successful. So I want to see how they counter that because, they picked up, a couple slot receivers and things of that nature, but those guys aren't as fast as Tyreek. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I want to see like exactly what their offense is going to look like without him. And also is the defense going to hold up because that's been their biggest issue and their Achilles heel. So it's like, if not, and especially going against some of the teams that they're going against, because they still got the Oakland Raiders are still a really good team. Not Oakland Raiders, I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
They're still a really good team. They just got Devontae Adams, so that they can definitely make things interesting. The Broncos are still there. They got Russell Wilson and Jared Judy. So like they obviously could shake things up and make some noise. So I don't know. We gotta see what they look like. What I'm saying, once in the season, but that would be the only team that I would say is kind of like it's borderline. Like I would have a few nightmares. I wouldn't sleep comfortably through the night. But those other 3, I think they're locks for sure.
Okay. There you say I'm gonna semi-agree with Ron. I'm gonna say the Bills for sure. I'm gonna say the Buccaneers. I'm gonna say the Rams, the Chiefs. Like I said, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be able to go to sleep and be like, for sure. Yeah. And I say that just because, like you said, like I'm still gonna pick them to win. I ain't gonna lock that in though, because again, the Chargers I feel like are right there. Staley makes me a little worried, but they made their defense better. They got Khalil Mack, they got J.C. Jackson, they still have James, they have Bosa, like they still have a good offense.
That Kool-Aid looks so good. It looks so good, but I'm not drinking it.
Oh no! It looks good. That's why I'm saying I ain't saying that the Chargers are for sure going to do it either. Like
they should be. The Chargers is the best team in that division at every position, and it's going to be a mess. Yes, yeah. Exactly. They're like one of the top teams in the preseason with penalties and turnovers.
You know who they remind me of, and they compared them to them last year when they faced off against each other. They're the AFC version of the Dallas Cowboys. Like Dallas, everything. They're the AFC
Los
version
Angeles Cowboys.
Like that's exactly what they are.
Perfect.
I'm gonna throw another team out there though that I'm gonna lock in to win.
Let's do it.
Their division, and that is the Indianapolis Colts are gonna win the AFC South.
I'll agree with that one.
I'm a Colts fan, but I don't know about that.
Hey, Tennessee, like, don't get me wrong, I like Traylon Burks. I watched him at Arkansas. I think he's going to be good for the Titans. You can't replace A.J. Brown, though. And you got Ryan Tannehill. Y'all blew it against Cincinnati. Y'all sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. Tannehill throws 3 picks, and you still lose.
They said Traylon Burks came into training camp overweight. It's rare for a wide receiver to come in overweight. The first person I think of is like Kelvin Benjamin. He's dysfunctional and he's being a problem in the locker room. So their number 1 pick, Traylon Burks, first rounder. It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a long ride for Tennessee. I'm riding with the Colts all day.
I feel like their offensive line got worse. Their defense, I feel like, is a little better. But wide receiver, they're not as good. To me, they haven't been good at tight end since Delaney Walker left. And again, y'all had Derrick Henry, and y'all still lost to the Bengals. And the Bengals ain't got no offensive line.
That part.
So
the juiciest divisions for me, Tony, is the North, NFC and AFC North. Because the person that we think is going to win those divisions, no matter who you think it is, they're not going to win. Whether you think it's the Bengals, it ain't going to be the Bengals. I feel like it's the Ravens. The Packers, they're the favorites.
they ain't
I
winning.
I like Detroit, y'all.
I bet you $20 right now, and anybody watching the show can hold me to that. I bet $20 right now the Packers don't win the North. I bet the Vikings do.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to know what to do without Devontae Adams. And it's not even like he just lost Devontae. No. He lost his number 2. He lost his number 3. He don't have nobody. He got nobody.
He got a bunch of young guys. He just threw under the bus.
Yeah, he threw all over the bus.
Still injured.
Yep. You got an old Randall Cobb. You don't have MVS. You don't have you lost St. Brown. You lost Adams. You got Jones. You can run the ball. That defense might be a little bit better, but that defense is still sus. Packers 9-8. I put the Packers 9-8.
I have a crush on the Detroit Lions, and it terrifies me.
Is it because of Dan Campbell? Is it because he's gonna bite your kneecaps off?
Oh man, it's not because of that. It's because of their weapons. They have a lot of fun toys. At every part of the ball. I'm big on fantasy football, and Detroit Lions is going at the top of the draft at every position. Wide receiver, running back, tight ends, decent defense.
You got Williams at wide receiver that they got from Bama. You got the kid that they had last year. I can't remember.
A. Brown Saint or something.
That's
their other wide receiver. They got Swift at running back.
Swift. You got Hawkinson at tight end.
And Michigan's own on the defensive line now,
Aiden
who
Hutchinson.
I've been heard his first step is as fast as, a Cowboys great already. What's their linebacker's name? How did I forget his name?
What, Micah Parsons?
Yes, I'm hearing Micah Parsons comparisons. Well, Detroit, I got them getting at least 8-9 wins.
Well, okay.
And that's different.
Yeah. Like I say, there's a lot of people high, and I think they are. And I think it's just because of Dan Campbell. Like, he's such a realistic and likable guy. Like, they did an interview with him, and they're like, he's like, if I could have a live lion on the sidelines, like, all the time, I would. They're like, would you let the lion eat like one of your arms to win a Super Bowl? He's like, hell yes. Right now, it can eat my arm if it means I go to the Super Bowl and win it.
Okay, he's crazy.
But hey, that man can motivate a team.
For sure. I mean, if you say something like that, I would love to play for a guy like that. But he's definitely crazy.
Oh yeah, but you gotta be a little crazy. I mean, you're the head coach of the Detroit Lions. You gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah, you gotta be insane to take that job.
I haven't talked to y'all in so long.
What up, Jay McLovin?
McLovin's in here. Jay.
McLovin.
Jay, I still got the vest on, baby. I can't wait for ASAP in the morning.
You have your safety vest on.
We cannot do this without talking. I don't know how much longer we got, but we got to talk about the best division in football. We didn't talk about the NFC East yet. Who's our division winner, Sisek?
The NFC least.
NFC least. I feel like they're all gonna be okay this year. They're gonna lose that least title.
Say, you know who I honestly have winning the NFC East, and it hurts me to say it like so bad.
Bomb drop? Is this a bomb drop, Tony?
Don't say the Giants. I keep hearing how Daniel Jones is about to be like Josh Allen.
No, Daniel Jones. No, we all knew that man was a bust. We all knew that man was a bust from the minute they said his name. I was upset as a Dallas fan when the Giants decided they were going to fire Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. I was like, that's the worst move in Giants history as a Cowboys fan.
Wow.
And I only say that because I wanted the Giants to stay at the bottom of the division. But I like
about
to
say Cowboys.
No, not Dallas. It is going to be
Oh,
the
wait.
Philadelphia Eagles. They got a
Yes.
absolute steal in the draft. You got to think about it. They got Jordan Davis out of Georgia. They got N'Kobe Dean in the 3rd round. They traded for AJ Brown. Like, they have shored up everything. Only 2 question marks they have currently, well, 3 actually to me, is their secondary, because their secondary hasn't been able to stay healthy the last 5 years.
But they do got a big time baller back there.
They do. They do. And Darius
play.
Slay, I ain't going to deny that or not. The running back, to me, they have not fixed it all. I don't like
Miles.
He's not a top running back to me. Like you don't have to be top 10, but he's not even like top 15 to me. I'm like, I can't support that. And then everybody's not sold on Jalen on Hurts. I like Hurts. I think Hurts is a good quarterback. I watched him at Bama. I watched him at Oklahoma. I think he can do it. Again, he took an Eagles team that was supposed to be like absolute bottom of the NFL, bottom of the division last year. He took them to 10-7 and into the playoffs against Brady and the Bucks. So to me,
Jay said he's on his midnight meds.
I think the Eagles run away with the division. Dallas, I think, is going to be 2nd. I got the Giants at 3rd. And I got Washington at 4th. I got Washington at 4th for 2 reasons. I got them at 4th, A, because Carson Wentz is the quarterback. Now, if they let Sam Horwell, their quarterback that they drafted out of UNC, play, I think they'll be better. And those uniforms are trash, especially them white uniforms. The uniforms are trash. I'm going to put them at the bottom of the division just because of them trash uniforms. But that's just me. But I got the Eagles winning the East, unfortunately. As much as I hate to say that. Dallas is not going to repeat.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you too, Tony, because Dallas just seems like before the season starts normally with the Cowboys, I'm like, all right, they can be decent. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, like, not you, Tony, but most of the fans like to say that they're going to go to the Super Bowl with it. They're not going to do that. But this year, they just kind of seem a mess. Like, it just seems like a big mess. Like, there's no cohesiveness. As far as their team this year. And it's like Zeke is a shell of himself, so you don't really have a run game.
Yep.
Then Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott. Like, I don't know why people think that he's the top 5 quarterback. He's not. He hasn't been. He's proven that he's not that guy. So then you got that. You don't really have much of a receiving core. The defense is not that great. I mean, it's just a mess. It just seems like a mess. So I would definitely have to go with the Eagles as well because they have a lot of good picks. They have a lot of talent, a lot of potential. As long as Jalen Hurts can stay healthy, I think, and especially he's got more experience under his belt, and he's got he's got some better weapons now. Like he's got him and
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. I think that they're gonna start clicking on all cylinders and be on the same pace because, like I said, now they got a year in. They kind of know each other's tendencies at this point, and if they can get a good enough connection where Jalen Hurts can rely on him and vice versa, that's gonna spell trouble for that division for the next 3-4 years.
Facts.
That young man is incredible.
Yeah, Jay, why you gotta come at me like that? Come on, Jay.
He just took his midnight med, so Jalen Hurts has a damn Lamborghini to drive. I've been an Eagles fan for most of my life because I'm from Philly, but I'm a Rams fan. But if you're from Pennsylvania, you got to root for the Eagles or you get into drama. Yeah. I feel like Jalen Hurts probably has the best weapons on the Eagles throughout my life. Like T.O. is a top 3 wide receiver of all time, but the weapons, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, a Heisman Trophy winner at the 2nd wide receiver. Then you get to the running backs. Like, I got 13 wins for the Eagles. It's wild, the talent that's on this team.
Yeah, no, definitely. They have a world of talent on this team, and they have nothing but potential. If everybody can stay healthy, I think that they're gonna be one of those teams to really talk about for the next couple of years because they literally have all the pieces to make a great contending team. Because they're just young. That's the only thing that's really against them right now is that their team is just really young. But the more and more that they kind of get that practice and get those reps in, like I said, they're scary. Like the Eagles,
They're
are
gonna
really
get
scary.
waxed in the playoffs, but they will make it further than what they did last year. They should at least win one game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And hold on, Jay. You can't be calling me out like that. I'm not gonna put it up here on the screen because that's disrespectful. But hold on, you can't say on a podcast with no real knowledge of the Dallas Cowboys, sir. First off,
You know he's sensitive about his Cowboys.
I know I'm a Cowboys fan too, but Jay, we gotta understand the truth, bro. Like we traded Amari Cooper for like a half-eaten apple and a bag of peanuts, stale peanuts at that. We traded Amari. We got CD. Now CD's biggest issue is he keeps dropping stuff. Michael Gallup's coming off of injury. I still expect him to be good, but Michael Gallup ain't gonna be the same dude. Who we got at 3? We got James Washington with a foot injury. Like he gonna be out for a hot minute.
Sensei, this is how you know the Cowboys is gonna have a long year. Because look at the fan base. This is dysfunction. We got
there's dysfunction like their team. Like I just said, the team is a mess. We got one person being realistic and one person living in a fantasy world.
And Jay, I'm just saying, we can't win a game if we got 25 penalties because every damn time somebody is doing a flipping holding call or pass interference. That was like every damn game last year. We should have beat the Raiders. What do we do? Penalty.
I don't know how you guys don't have Sean Payton coaching right now. I'm surprised Jerry Jones didn't take all the fines and penalties, and McCarthy's still coaching. It's wild.
Next year. And you want to know what it is? Jerry's trying to not be the Miami Dolphins with some of their tampering stuff. He's like, I'm gonna give it a year because I'm like the kid in the candy store. But yeah, he's gonna give it a year. He's gonna let Sean, take his time off, enjoy a year off, and he'll be like, all right, Sean, here's a team. Do what you got to do. But yeah, can't say I don't know no real knowledge of our team. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm a realist. Sir.
How about them Cowboys? I don't even know why Jay's doing it to himself. I don't know why Jay's doing it to himself. You know it's going to be a long year.
We're Cowboys fans. We like pain. We know what it is.
Yeah, 2020.
I really enjoy pain, and I don't understand it.
Almost going on the 30th anniversary, Sensei, of the last time the Cowboys was relevant in the postseason.
It ain't that long, sir. We got 4 more years.
Oh my God!
4 more years. 1996. We got 4 more years.
Maybe.
All right, y'all. Well, it has been fun though. I've had a blast with y'all. I'm glad we were able to get this kick back up. Catch us tomorrow about the same time. We're going to shoot for about 10 o'clock Eastern. Hopefully Ron and the Sensei will be able to join us. But do y'all folks have anything final to give to the audience before we head out?
No, just continue to support ASAP. I'll definitely be here tomorrow, man. The Sports Center will actually be back tomorrow as well, so make sure y'all check that out. And what y'all got going on, man? What y'all doing?
I'm just looking forward to the football season, basketball season coming back, October baseball, WNBA playoffs. This is the best sports season, and I'm just grateful to be able to spend these late nights with y'all on ASAP After Dark. This is about to be a vibe, y'all. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yep, let's do it. It's going to be a fun, like Ron said, we got, WNBA playoffs. You got October baseball. College football starts this weekend. NFL's right around the corner. Like it's going to be fun.
We're going to have too much to talk about.
And that's never a bad thing.
Not at all. It's really going to pick up in these next few weeks for sure.
All right, everybody. Well, thank y'all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it, and we will catch y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Peace.
All right.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.